Scholars, Dr. Ratcliffe here. I just wanted to make a brief video about PowerPoint and what should go in your PowerPoint, how many slides you should have, and how to handle a PowerPoint during a presentation. So first what I want to do is take you into the modules. And if you scroll down to the speech preparation module, this is where we have all of these resources for you to peruse. So if you have any specific questions about something, you can find it here. Here's a link right here, creating and presenting visual aids. This will give you a rundown of some of the rules of a PowerPoint or a visual aid that you may want to look at. And so let me just adjust this here so you can see it. And I'll go over this and really expand on it so you have an idea of what to do. So first of all, a visual aid is anything that you present that visually aids your topic. Let's not get confused. The visual aid, or in this instance a PowerPoint that is a visual aid, is not the star of the presentation. You are the star of the presentation. The visual aid is your backup dancer. It just makes you look good, it emphasizes what you're saying, but you are the one that provides all of the main information. And so the number one rule with PowerPoint as visual aid is that you should not have full sentences on your PowerPoint. Instead, if you choose to put text on your PowerPoint slides, then they need to be bullet pointed. That means there needs to be short phrases or even just keywords that help guide the listener while you're speaking about those specific topics in more detail. And so a lot of people get it backwards. They put all of their text on the slides and they don't know what else to say. Well, you should have all the information, and the PowerPoint should just give a brief overview of that point. And so when you design a PowerPoint, think about your content, but let's take a step back. The first part of designing a PowerPoint is to obviously choose some sort of background. Now, you can just choose a plain white background, it's not the most exciting, or you can choose one of the PowerPoint template backgrounds. Whatever you do, make sure that you have a consistent, non-distracting background throughout the entire slideshow. Do not put a picture as a background with text over it. Why not? Well, if we think about it, that would make it harder to read the text. And so our goal for any visual aid, and really our goal in public speaking, is to make our message as clear as possible to the audience. So anything that would impede our communication, we need to change. And so that's why we would have just a nice, good, clear background with a font on top of that background that is contrasting. And so, for instance, the color combinations need to be contrasting. So you don't want to put a white text over yellow background, right? Instead, you would want to put, if you had a yellow background, I don't know why you would, but maybe you would. If you had a yellow background, maybe you put black text on it. Those are two contrasting colors, and you can really distinguish between those two. So think about that if you want to create your own backgrounds, you can. If you use the PowerPoint templates, whatever they have are already consistently designed and already great in terms of your background colors versus your font colors and things like that. So that might be a great default. Just use the PowerPoint templates that are available to you. Also, never put your slides on a timer. Oh, don't do that. Because what ends up happening is the slides are going to change before you get ready, or you're going to be done talking about that topic and it's still going to be on the slide that you want to move on from. And so don't use the timer function. Use fonts and colors that are easy to see. Don't use crazy fonts that are difficult to interpret. And so the textbook has some really great information about this in Chapter 12, so I encourage you to go back and look at those rules for design. What I like on PowerPoint is a title on every single slide. And so at least that's consistent throughout the presentation. And so you need to have a title on your introduction slide, and then you need to have a title on your first main point slide, and then a title on the second main point slide, and so forth and so on. I don't care what the rest of the content is, at least you should have a title on every slide. And so that leads us to how many slides should we have? Well, for a shorter speech, really, like a speech like we're doing this week, just an informative speech, 5 slides is sufficient. And so A slide for the introduction, which could essentially just be the name of the title of your speech and your name. And then a slide for your first main point, and then a slide for your second main point, a slide for your third main point, and then a slide for the conclusion. So that's just 5 slides. So very simple design, just 5, maybe 6 slides. Don't go crazy with your slides. You should not have 10 slides for this for these speeches. No full sentences. So if there's no full sentences, what should be on your speech? Like I alluded to earlier, if you want text or words on your slides, you can bullet point those, and that could be the content of your slide underneath the title. Or you could just have a nice representative picture as the content of your the content of your slide underneath that title. And so you've got some examples or samples in the book that you could really pull from. Here's a sample PowerPoint that I created for a different speech assignment, but it kind of gives you an idea of how basic this could be. So first of all, you can see that it's a really easy to read title, a contrasting background and font, and then I go into my first main point, which is basic information. I don't type out all of this. In fact, I just kind of keep it general. And then while I'm speaking, I'm going to be providing the good detail. I go into another point about symbolism. Normally, I would not recommend having this many pictures on a slide, but each one of these is going to be raised in my discussion. And then I go to my third main point where I talk about the actual couple in the painting. This slide could probably be a little bit more creative, to tell you the truth, but it's just an example. And then my slide for the conclusion. So you see, this is really simple. There's not a lot of information on your slides. It just gives your audience something visual to look at while you're talking. And so if you have any questions about creating visual aids, just look at chapter 12 in your textbook. That's really going to be helpful. So what do you do in terms of your slides while you're presenting them to your audience at home? And so this video is mainly for my online students. You don't come to a classroom to give your speeches. So what you're going to do is you have a couple of options. First of all, if you want to, you can hook your laptop up to your TV at home if you have that capability, and you can show your slides there on a big screen, and that would be really easy for your audience to look at and would be easy for the camera to capture. If you don't have that option, don't worry. You can also just put your laptop beside you facing your live audience, and then as you're talking, you would click through your slides just like you would in any other presentation with a visual aid. Just, as you get to that section, you click to that slide, and then you will attach your slides to your post. And so if you need more information on how to do that, just go to the specific assignment and it'll tell you how to do that. But that's basically how you will turn in your PowerPoint. So everyone in the online class should also attach their PowerPoint to their post, their speech post, when they turn in their speech video. That way I can open it and look at it in detail. Because even if your live audience can see it, I may not be able to see it in the video. And so that way, if I have a copy of it, I can still give you points for that, because I can go into your PowerPoint, open it up, and see how it's designed and what's on it. So that's something to consider. Make sure you turn in your PowerPoint when you turn in your speech post. So what do we do in terms of using the visual aid during the speech? The number one mistake with using PowerPoint during a speech is people start to use their PowerPoint as their notes. No, don't do that, because it causes you to turn away from your audience and over to your screen. And so we want to avoid that, because that breaks that great eye contact you have with the audience. It really interrupts the connection you have with your audience. And so you want to make sure that, yeah, you can refer to your PowerPoint, like, hey, it's right here, but you're always coming right back to your audience. You're not turning from your audience or even turning from your speaker notes and starting to use your PowerPoint as your note. It's not supposed to be your notes. You have speaker notes that are your notes. And so don't turn towards your PowerPoint and read off of them. First of all, there should be no full sentences on those slides anyway. So just avoid that, and that'll really help you stay focused and forward. Because if you have full sentences on your PowerPoint, your tendency is going to be to turn and read from those slides. So don't do that. So those are a couple of things that you might want to consider about designing and presenting a visual aid, specifically a PowerPoint as a visual aid, just remember these key facts and think about what kind of content that would be appropriate for your particular speech topic. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Thanks.